The Gift of Giving, Living Your Legacy. Official publication of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Written by Jim Stovall and Don Green. Narrated by Jeff Moon. In loving memory of Florine Finn Stovall, whose life was a testament to the wealth that giving brings. Part 1. The Ultimate Giving Goal. Chapter 1. Truly Wealthy. Remember that your real wealth can be measured not by what you have, but by what you are. Napoleon Hill. I stood on the Oral Roberts University chapel stage, microphone in hand, addressing the student body. My wife Crystal and I had returned to our alma mater for a special chapel service, in which we were to present the university with a check for $1 million, a donation that would launch the Stovall Center for Entrepreneurship. There is something incredibly surreal about revisiting the place you attended college in the capacity of a donor. Being able to partake in the work of the educational institution that taught you what it means to be an engaged citizen, that is real wealth. As Napoleon Hill's quote that opens this chapter reveals, material riches alone are a poor measure of success. More important is how those resources are stewarded, as well as how other less tangible resources like time and talent have been shared. The ability to give back, whether through service, encouragement, or charity, is something that every single person on this earth has, regardless of their financial circumstances. Hill is known around the world as the expert on amassing wealth, power, and prestige. His 1937 book, Think and Grow Rich, distilled the insight of 500 of America's greatest business people and thought leaders into a manifesto for personal success that inspired a generation to overcome the limitations of the Great Depression, and that continues to inspire entrepreneurs and cultural icons today. But what is often missed in conversations about Hill is that although his science of success is useful for building financial riches, the true aim of his achievement philosophy is creating the emotional and spiritual wealth that comes from living a meaningful existence. Add value to yourself, yes, but do so in order to add value to the lives of others. For decades, Hill's achievement principles have supported my success journey, which, as you will discover in this audiobook, is not aimed at a bigger paycheck, a more robust investment portfolio, or a larger house. It is and has always been a giving journey, a quest to find the cause about which I am most passionate, and following this discovery, aligning my work, life, and income in such a way that would enable me to give generously to this cause. While I gave much thought and planning to amassing financial riches, along the way I stopped calculating my wealth based on the amount of money I had accumulated and started defining my wealth by the things it could do for other people. As part of the College of Business, the Stovall Center for Entrepreneurship is the culmination of my giving journey, the biggest manifestation of the legacy I endeavor to live. Along with the other visionaries behind this center, I envisioned it as providing the essential knowledge, skills, and ethics needed to equip ORU students to engage the world's biggest challenges with God's best solutions. It would do so by enabling students with exceptional abilities to create new business concepts, startup incubators, accelerators, and launchpads. It would also host workshops, boot camps, and lectures, set up networking with entrepreneurial collectives, provide space for entrepreneurial faculty and professionals to mentor and coach students, and allocate resources for mission-based entrepreneurial initiatives such as microfinancing and venture capital. My wife and I had donated to ORU in the past, providing over 500 scholarships to students over the last 30 years, and even earning the honor of having the administrative building named after us. But this endowment to fund the new Entrepreneurship Center took our giving to another level. It enabled us to establish a sustainable gift, one that helps people help themselves and then help others. As I'll reiterate throughout this audiobook, you do yourself and others a disservice if you merely throw money at them. It's important to set up a system that enables your money to keep supporting others beyond the initial receipt of the funds. After passing an oversized check written to the amount of $1 million to ORU President Dr. William M. Wilson, Crystal and I returned backstage. Still riding the elation of the moment, I asked her, "How does it feel?" After all, we were $1 million lighter than when we had come in that day, and I was wondering whether excitement about the gift's magnitude was transforming into shock or concern. Crystal had been raised in poverty in a little trailer house that her family rented in upstate New York, and we were very poor when we first got married. So I asked her, "How does it feel to be $1 million poorer?" Without missing a beat, she responded, "I've never felt richer in my life. Giving that money away was the first time I truly felt wealthy." Crystal was demonstrating the profound satisfaction brought by peace of mind, what Hill describes as the wealth without which you cannot really be wealthy. As Hill explains in detail in Grow Rich with Peace of Mind, a book written at the end of his life that contains some of his most poignant reflections on what success truly entails, peace of mind refers to much more than material comfort, or what Hill calls money success. In fact, in his list of the 12 great riches of life, money occupies the very last position. 1. A positive mental attitude. 2. Sound physical health. 3. Harmony in human relationships. 4. Freedom from all forms of fear. 5. The hope of future achievement. 6. The capacity for faith. 7. A willingness to share one's blessings. 8. A labor of love as an occupation. 9. An open mind on all subjects. 10. Self-discipline in all circumstances. 11. The capacity to understand others. And finally, number 12, sufficient money. A willingness to share one's blessings refers directly to generosity of spirit, but many of these riches derive from or inspire charity as well. Money is certainly necessary to provide material security and the occasional luxury to enjoy, but it is not an end in itself. As Hill explains, money will buy a great deal, but it will not buy peace of mind. It will only help you find peace of mind. Money then becomes a vehicle for obtaining a greater form of wealth, for true riches are found in the peace of mind that generosity brings. Life success, as Hill terms it, comes from pursuing a definite purpose, overcoming the ghosts of fear and any external restrictions to chart your own path in life, and adding value to the lives of others. In Hill's words, peace of mind helps you live your life on your own terms, in values of your own choosing, so that every day your life grows richer and richer. True riches are found in the peace of mind that generosity brings. Make no mistake, these values require you to be community-minded, looking outward to your fellow human beings and determining how you can help them obtain peace of mind as well. For as Hill suggests, the surest way of finding peace of mind is that which helps the greatest number of others to find it. Giving is foremost a boon to the giver, whose life will be immeasurably enriched through acts of service and charity. My own giving journey reveals the power of continuously dedicating portions of one's time and money to worthy causes. And it is my hope that this audiobook will help you discover this priceless form of wealth so that you can create and enjoy your legacy now. Now is the time for your ultimate giving journey to begin. Chapter 2. Emptying My Pockets. Life proceeds according to the great law of compensation. The more you give of what you have, the more comes back to you. and it comes back greatly multiplied. Napoleon Hill. This is a story that if I had not been there and lived it, I would not believe it. If I turned this into a script, producers would laugh in my face. It's that unbelievable. A college football star whose career ended before it even began because of a rare degenerative eye condition, broke and without job prospects, makes a commitment to donate $1 million to a cause to be determined, and goes on to found the Narrative Television Network and become the best-selling author of over 40 books, including 8 that have been made into major motion pictures. Who would believe that? But, as Napoleon Hill famously said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That has been proven in my life in the most amazing ways. Rewind the clock back 40 years. I was sitting in the 4th row from the back of the same chapel in which I was now presenting a check for $1 million. Oral Roberts introduced our guest speaker for the day, a gentleman who was digging wells in sub-Saharan Africa so that the people there could have clean water. I found it interesting, but to be honest, I didn't give it much thought at first. After the man finished speaking, Oral Roberts said, "I think we should take a collection from the 4,000 of us here today to help this man with his work." I thought it was a neat idea, except I only had $17 to my name at the time, and it was all in my pocket. I had a $10 bill, a $5 bill, and 2 $1 bills. That was my entire life savings. What was more, I was planning to use it that evening to take a young lady named Crystal out on a date. Crystal had been one of the students assigned to read me my textbooks, as my vision had progressively worsened during college. I'm not sure she had any thought of or feelings toward me at the time, but I instantly fell in love with her and informed the university that we wouldn't be needing any of the other readers. I decided right then and there that I would either make it through college with her or not at all. On the day of that chapel service, we were far from a couple yet, so I was hoping to stretch my $17 as far as it could go to impress her. I hesitatingly pulled out a $1 bill, and as the collection basket approached me, Oral Roberts came up on stage and said, "Somebody in this building needs to hear this right now." And then he continued, declaring something that has stuck with me over the years. Either you give God your best and expect the best, or you keep your money because you're going to need it. I tucked the $1 bill back in my pocket and dropped the $10 bill in the collection basket. It dawned on me then that I was going to have to plan for a $7 date. After the service, I rejoined Crystal. Hoping my humor would charm her and hide my embarrassment, I told her, "I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that I helped the man with his wells. The bad news is that we're getting ready to have a $7 date." She, of course, was very gracious about it and said we could just eat in the dining room on campus and then go for a walk. While strolling along the campus grounds, we ended up in an empty classroom in the Graduate Center. Sitting across from each other on desks, we talked about our coursework and sundry other things. The conversation turned to our future plans, and Crystal asked me, "What do you think we're going to do when we get out of college?" Mind you, this was the first time she had used the pronoun we in the context of the future, so I felt pretty good about our potential. I could still see a little bit, so I jumped up and began writing on the whiteboard. First, I'm going to start my own business and become a millionaire. Then, I'm going to write a book, which will later become a movie. And then, I'm going to find something I care about as much as that guy cared about digging those wells, and I'm going to write a check for $1 million for it. I stored this list of goals in the back of my mind. It's common to have moments of inspiration, but too often we don't have moments of follow-through. Although I didn't know it at the time, that donation to the Clean Water Project in Africa launched me on a personal giving journey, one that would bring me greater returns of prosperity and peace of mind with every contribution of time and money that I made. Chapter 3. Charting a Path. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Napoleon Hill. Thanks to Crystal's help, I made it through college. I discovered that I wasn't just a dumb jock and ended up graduating second in our degree program. Crystal graduated first in our program, which was tough on a competitive guy like me. It's okay to be number 2, unless you're living with number 1. I've developed a theory over the years that maybe she didn't read me all the textbook material. I have no evidence to prove it, but it makes me feel better. During my senior year, it dawned on me that I would be graduating soon and needed to line up work. As a young man, my greatest aspiration in life was to be a professional football player. The scouts assured me that I had the requisite size and speed. It was just a matter of living until I was making a living playing football on Sundays. I had no safety net, no backup plan. I didn't think I needed one. Then, one day, I went to the doctor for a routine pre-season physical and received some very unexpected, unwanted news. It was an extensive physical. You see, they want to make sure you're healthy before they take you out to kill you on the football field. And so they poke you, prod you, weigh you, and measure you just to make sure you're in prime shape to take a beating. During this visit, however, I had been left alone in the doctor's office for quite a while following the examination, and I thought, boy, this physical is sure taking a lot longer than usual. Eventually, a doctor came in and shined a light in my eyes. Then another doctor came in, and he also shined a light in my eyes. And then a third doctor came in and performed several other tests. Finally, after what felt like forever, they took me down a long hall, sat me down at a table, and told me something that completely changed my life. They said, "Jim, we're not sure why, and we're not sure when, but we do know that you're going to be totally blind, and there's nothing we can do about it. Your whole world just stops right there." My short and sweet research into the matter informed me that there had never been a blind player in the NFL, nor has there been one to this day. You know, anyone who has seen some of the recent preseason games might question that, but I'm assured that no blind guys have ever made it. It just doesn't happen. I had no idea what I was going to do. My father got out of the Navy in 1955 and took a job at Oral Roberts University in my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. As a young man, I had sworn that the last place on God's green earth I would ever go would be ORU. I mean, it was just impossible to me. But I'm fairly convinced that the Almighty is endowed with an incredible sense of humor. Anytime we say we'll never do something, we might as well pack our bags right then and there. Lo and behold, because it was too late for me to get in anywhere else, I agreed to go to ORU that fall. I shifted my athletic career to become an Olympic-style weightlifting champion. But until my senior year, I hadn't considered how that would translate into a job and a means of reaching all those goals I had mapped out on the whiteboard. So I decided to attend a career fair on campus. A bunch of recruiters were there, and my friends were receiving job offers right and left. But nobody seemed interested in offering a blind jock a position. I realized that I was going to be out of college soon and unemployed. My father was still working at ORU as the chief financial officer. He had an office in a building right across the street from the campus. I went over to his office feeling dejected and just a bit sorry for myself. I told him the most thrilling thing a parent of a young adult could hear. "Dad, when I graduate in May, I'm not going to get a job." My dad raised his eyebrows in consternation. "I'm not going to get a job, but I'm going to start my own company." He responded, "Come back tomorrow. I'll give you something." After hearing this, I was thinking, all right, the old guy's going to give me $50,000 to help me get started. I'll have a pretty nice cushion to launch my big business. The next day, I returned to his office early, excited and ready to receive my windfall. My dad was sitting at his desk, and he said, "I told you I was going to give you something. And actually, I'm going to give you two things. First, I'm going to give you the certain knowledge that if you ever earn anything in this world, you got it on your own, because I'm not giving you a dime. And second, since I have no experience as an entrepreneur, I'm going to introduce you to the guy who has the office next to mine, Lee Braxton. Lee Braxton was a self-made millionaire who had been raised in a low-income area of North Carolina during the Great Depression. With only a third-grade education, he had dropped out of school in order to help support his family. He and his brother opened a bicycle repair shop and diligently saved up a nest egg while paying his family's bills. One day, while working at the store, he and his brother heard a terrible sound. Running across town, they discovered that two freight trains containing small appliances had collided. They chanced upon the insurance adjuster responsible for evaluating the claims and offered to purchase the goods for pennies on the dollar. When World War II began and American manufacturing became focused on supporting the military, Braxton and his brother created a booming business reselling these goods, making millions in the process. Mr. Braxton ended up giving 90% of his fortune away and lived off the remainder. Then he went to work for Oral Roberts University for an annual salary of $1 for the rest of his life. My dad took me into Mr. Braxton's office, introduced us, and then left the room so that we could talk. At the time of our introduction, Mr. Braxton was quite elderly, and I discovered that he was a rather gruff, plain-spoken man. After my dad departed, Mr. Braxton asked me pointedly, "Your dad tells me you're going blind. Can you still read?" "Well," I said, "it's slow and difficult, but I can." He handed me a thick book, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and said, "Read that." I replied, "Sir, it will take me a lot of time and effort to get through that." Mr. Braxton responded matter-of-factly, "I'm okay with that." As he ushered me out the door, I tried to ask him more questions, but he just smiled and gestured toward the book in my hands before finally walking away. I left his office feeling overwhelmed, but hopeful, ready to dig into the dog-eared copy of Think and Grow Rich that this business icon felt was so critical for success.